Okay, thanks for joining. I'm from the Netherlands, so my pronouncement of some words are some kind different, so excuse me for that. We are using CloudForms at one customer. It's a VMware environment. I will come back later to that. I've been a long time in IT, since about 1919. Been at some big international companies like UGC Corporate, telcos in the Netherlands like Dutchstone, Orange, T-Mobile. And nowadays we do managed services with small group of people. Also in my spare time, I'm one of the sysadmins and mirror maintainers of ftp.nl, ueg.nl. So if somebody has a project that needs mirror space, we can provide it with that. So just give me a call and I will create the mirror for you. About proxy managed services. There's a company called Proxy. It's approximately 50 people large, where about 40 people are being used as contractors. And a little group of 8 people is doing managed services for various customers. Normally they come to us because we are good at legacy Unix, Oracle databases, infrastructure, networking, etc. And nowadays we are also creating complete environments for customers. The customers we have are moving from traditional IT physical servers, one application, one database, to a virtualized environment. And they are not typically customers that can go to the clouds or containers. So most of our work is done in virtualization. Only 20% of our customers could use ManageIQ or CloudForms. Why? Because we are running ref and cluster on ref or overt on GlusterFS. And only 3 weeks ago, in the ManageIQ nightlies, GlusterFS was being supported. So now we can extend the implementation of CloudForms or ManageIQ. We have 2 customers that are in the warehousing. Customer is called Swisslog, and we created for them a solution where we put down overt with GlusterFS hyperconverts on it. And it's a very strange environment. They need to be running all the times. The customer is a large warehouse that's supplying engine parts of ships to harbors, and we got only 4 weekends a year that we can schedule downtime. Another customer of us is Sandvik. Sandvik is running an infrastructure as a service solution. We supplied the servers to them and we managed the VMware environment. And one of our salespersons, they sold also CloudForms to this solution. At the moment, it's a real overkill because we have on 3 continents, in Europe, in the States, and in Asia, we have one ESXi host that's running production. There's only 1 VM running on it, but it's built for extensibility. We are now talking to them about their physical Windows machines that they're going to move to this environment. In the beginning, I had some troubles putting CloudForms on it because we have only 1 vCenter server and the VMs and the ESXi hosts were placed in 3 different continents. So normally you create zones and regions with CloudForms. But I have only 1 provider, so I couldn't do that. Then I got stuck into some problems with database connections and latency, and I will get back to that later on. Another nice thing was that in the beginning of the year we were invited by Sandvik Global IT, and Global IT is placed in Sweden. We were invited there for a conversation about how the project is running. I showed them cloud forms. We also got a site visit at the plant, and during that site visit we saw some AGVs. AGV is an automatic guided vehicle system like this, and that product is being delivered by Swisslog, so that's the other supplier where we do business for. So it was fun to see what suppliers are doing at another customer. This is one of our bigger environments. An elderly retirement homes company came to us because they were running Ref as their virtualization platform. We are now doing the complete IT environment over there. We installed Wi-Fi in 3 different buildings. They have now tablets. We provisioned thin clients for that. And it's very sophisticated for elderly retirement homes, because in a central data center they are running Ref. On the Ref environment there is Windows terminal servers running, a print server, a Windows file server. And in the 3 different sites they have only a single boot server, and on that boot server we deliver Linux images to thin clients, and there our desktop session is being started, and the terminal server is running in the data center. So in my opinion, for healthcare it's really sophisticated. And we have to do a good job over there, because we get older, and when we retire we want to get over there and have good network infra. We also do some management of Linux instances, which is running an application which calls Algo, that's doing algorithmics of loans. And we also manage their databases. It's sad that we don't do the infrastructure over there, because they have a very large VMware infrastructure. Last time I looked, they had at least 30 ESXi hosts and at least 350 VMs. So every time I'm doing a site visit, I mention CloudForms, ManageIQ, makes your life easier. I hope that they see the advantages of it. And our internal IT, we're going to supply ManageIQ on top of that. Internal IT will be delivered with Gluster, and on top of it is hyperconverged overt. And for other customers, we also do storage as a service. At our customer Fokker, we created storage as a service based on IBM V7000, and we had an uptime of 100% over the last 5 years. So another happy customer. On integration level, we have some specific building blocks that we are going to use at every customer. The first one is free IPA. We create on every site, we create a multi-master environment that will be used as a single sign-on for all the Linux machines, host-based access control, sudo, and DNS if that's applicable for that customers. And we use free IPA for authentication and authorization against ManageIQ or CloudForms. Another product we are using is CheckMK. CheckMK is a monitoring solution. In the water, it's using Icinga or Nagios, but this setup is based on central management and in distributed environments. As you can see, we do checks of 426 hosts and about 7,200 services of it, and it's a lightweight process. What I want to do is in CloudForms you define tags and use that tags into our monitoring solution so that tags are being equal in CloudForms, in the monitoring solution, etc., etc. And I want to use the API of CheckMK to create a host when it's provisioned in the environment. Another thing I was thinking of when we create a user portal in CloudForms, then the customer has access of shutting down and powering up a VM. And then I want to create an automation method that if a customer is shutting a VM down, then automatically it creates downtime into our monitoring solution. So that when the customer is shutting something down, we don't get error messages. Another tool we are using is Topdesk. You can see it as ServiceNow. This is especially a Dutch product which is being widely used within the Netherlands. So I'm gonna use the automation methods from Kevin Murray to rewrite that for Topdesk. And it should be simple because it's only calling an external API. Ansible integration. Some colleagues of mine are writing playbooks for Ansible. We used to have Puppet in our environment, but they are now changing to Ansible. I want to use CloudForms or ManageIQ as the source for the dynamic inventory for Ansible. If you create a VM, then it gets automatically all its stack by the automation. And I'm writing a script that's pulling data out of CloudForms, including the tags, and then create every combination of tags for the dynamic inventory for Ansible. We don't have Tower in place at the moment. I don't know if that will happen, but in this method, in this way, I can use all the cool functionalities within CloudForms to complement this. Another building block is Foreman. At the moment, we are using plain Pulp for repository management. And in the future, we are going to migrate that to Foreman or Catello, the overall product. It's not clear yet what we are going to do with it. Some thoughts are that we're going to provision machines with Catello or Ansible or ManageIQ. So it's a work in progress of what is the best way to use all the products together. With Catello, we are definitely going to use the repo management, also using the DNS and DHP, and we put that in capsules on premise of the customers. For backup, one open source product we are using is Barrios. Barrios it can be used as an open source product, but we have subscriptions for that, so that can use support and have validated versions running. We are running Barrios at Sandvik, and there we use the VMware plugin to create CBT snapshots and put that on the backup server, so you get LAN-free backups. I want to create a button in CloudForms so that customers can schedule their own backup if they want to have an instant backup outside of the schedules. Yeah?
Is that a live backup of the VM that you orchestrate through CloudFront?
No, at the moment, backup is BIOS is scheduling its own backups, and with the VMware plugin, it creates a snapshot of the running VM, and it's a CBT snapshots, and only the change blocks are being backed by the data agent of BIOS. But what I want to do is, if we create a self-user portal, then the customer can directly schedule a backup of his own VM. And I talked during the break, I talked with Kevin Mori about custom attributes, and I was directly thinking of, okay, we can use custom attributes to get all the last full backups, the last incremental backups, the size of the backup, etc., etc. So you can use that for reporting in CloudForms to get an overall view of your whole environment. Another thing we are using is standard naming convention. We have several customers, and for some customers we are doing only parts of the IT, and other customers we do the complete IT, and we were always struggling with naming schemes. So we created a naming convention, and this is also very useful to create a naming convention for tagging, because if everybody just is creating tagging, then it's not the way that you want. And the naming scheme is very extensively. Proxy is every year is organizing an karting championship for open IT professionals. So in the Netherlands, every open IT professional is being invited to join the karting. This year, Red Hat was also available at the karting scheme, including SUSE, and luckily Red Hat had the faster lap times than SUSE. And even on the karting championship, we have our own naming scheme. You see there the group P1K11B01. So that's production. It's a physical environment. The 11, that's the location of the karting event. That's Race Planet in Delft. And the B01 is the team. When you use these naming schemes, you can also create automation for it, so that the VM name or the host name is automatically created. And if a VM name in place, you can also use the automation to see which function it is, so that you can use the proper tagging. In the automation module, we just started with automation. We are sysadmins, we are Oracle admins, we are network admins. So the programming is not on a high level inside our group. So the learning how to automate within CloudForms or ManageIQ is very steep. We use the POC that Kevin Mori has written. We extensively look into the Git book from Peter McGowan, and that's a great help. I talked during the break a while with Kevin Mori, and within that 5 minutes, I gained more knowledge than the last few months reading all the codes, and so it's hard for a non-programmer to learn the automation module. So the thoughts that we have and the vision that we have is that a VM is being created. After the VM is being created, smart state analysis is run. And after the smart state analysis, the host or VM is tagged with the proper tagging. It's being automatically added to the monitoring solution. The dynamic inventory for Ansible is being run, and after that, the Ansible playbooks are run on the VM. Then it's automatically into the backup, and it's being put into Catello if it's not already done when we provision from Catello. We want to separate the data and the code. Or the codes, because we have several clients and not every client is the same. We also want to create a generic piece of automation that's generic for all the customers, and if there is a slight difference for a customer, then we create another domain for it. Like I said, it's very hard to get started in automation module when you're not programmers. You have to learn Ruby, you have to learn all internals about CloudForms or ManageIQ. We have a lot of ideas how to implement stuff, but it gets hard to actually write the code into CloudForms. We use a couple of policies. We create smart state analysis when there is a new host or a new VM, or after a clone of the VM, after power on of the VM, etc., etc. There was only one thing I didn't think of. I mentioned before that we use Barrios as a backup solution, and I created a policy that after a VM setting was changed, automatically the smart state analysis was run. But what is a backup server doing? A backup server is initiating a backup of a VM. A snapshot of the VM is being created. Then that snapshot is being tied onto the backup host itself. So that's a VM settings change. Directly after that, the smart state analysis is running. So you're making a snapshot of a machine which has external snapshots attached, and VMware doesn't like that, and it took me a while to figure out, okay, what is happening? I get errors in VMware and don't know where the source was, and just after a while I discovered that, okay, if a host has foreign snapshots assigned to that, then if a snapshot of that host is being made, then you get troubles in VMware, so I disabled that function. So that was one of the things I hit very hard. It led to corruption of a VM. Yeah, that's how it goes. We also use the policies for tagging. Based on the folder, based on the location, based on the cluster where the VM is running, we create tags to the VMs. And we also use policies to assign specific profiles for smart state analysis. We also use some compliance policies. Last time there was the drown vulnerability, and I saw on the depot of ManageIQ that there were some policies available. I implemented that policy, and it was working great. later on, I modified the policy because the policy, compliance policy, was only checking the VMs and it didn't check the templates. So did a slight modification so that also the templates are being scanned for that compliance policy. Yeah, I mentioned also the smart state analysis and the LAN-free backups. Yeah, that was a problem that I didn't foresee before I was writing the policy. Another problem we had was the network latency. We started with CloudForms 3.2 in the Sandvik environment. Later on, we upgraded to 4.0, and suddenly the CFMA, the engine in Singapore, was not detected anymore. I did a lot of debugging, network traces. Red Hat was taking over my session, looked into the database, looked into the code, and the solution was that the ManageIQ database log, the standard timeout is 10 minutes, and within that 10 minutes, the appliance could not be registered into the database. And that was because of the latency. Normally, the latency between the Netherlands and the US is 100 milliseconds. But in our case, the latency from the Netherlands, where the VMDB is running, to Singapore is 230 milliseconds. So that was the problem. The timeout was not being sufficient. We upgraded increased the timeout from 10 to 30 minutes, and after that it was working right. Later on the case was closed, and the statement of Red Hat was that it was decided that CloudForms is currently not able to handle connecting to a database to one. So, yeah, too bad, but if you increase the timeout from 10 to 30 minutes, it's still working. Later on, when the environment is growing, then we will move from one vCenter server to multiple vCenter servers. But nowadays, when you have only one VM running production on 3 continents, it's overkill to place a vCenter server over there. Here you see the environment. Here in the Netherlands, we have the vCenter server. In the United States, we only have worker instances, and also in Singapore. And here you see all the blueprints we are using. It's always the same. On every site we have an IPA server, or IPA server, and all the IPA servers are masters, so everything is in sync. Monitoring is based on CheckMK, and the backup server is being used with Barrios. Barrios is also supplying us with copies of the jobs. So important backups of the Netherlands are automatically being transferred to the States or Singapore if we want. What will we do in the future? We must create a dev, test, acceptance, and production environment on our own premise. We will do that with nested virtualization. The virtualization platform is Overt, and in Overt we create another Overt or an OpenStack or a VMware, etc., etc. And we need, sometimes we need to do some stub testing, and there is a product called vCSim. That's a vCenter 5.5 appliance where you can simulate a very large VMware environments. it's very handy if you want to know what the impact is if you have 1,000 hosts and 3,000 VMs. With Overt and with Ref, you are using fake VDSM. It's an option in the VDSM to create additional hosts without having the physical host. And when we implement CloudForms at our other customers, we are going to create a master DB so that we have one source of data for all of our customers. And that's what we are doing at the moment. So does anybody have any questions?
Everybody's ready for happy hour? All right, with that we thank Mike.
Okay.
And thank you so much.